We now move to the semi-finals of the senior single sculls.
So another big event here. So on the start, we have on the Berkshire Station, Victoria City, Canada, Andrea Prosk, and on the Buck Station, Nottingham Boat Club, Primrose Wilkins. So this is another big event, 25 entries down to 16 in the time trial. 2 races on Friday, 1 yesterday, the first and second of 2 races today. So this is their first semi-final. And coming down through the island, both scullers have got a good start. They've both got a good line here. Well, having said that, slightly close to the boys, but what's really interesting, and I do remember from sculling here, is just the if you're on the Berkshire Station, the difficulty of making that transition from the kind of ropes to being the booms and the bank, and it just sort of draws you in. But she's got herself a good line out there. So it's...
There is, of course, the steering wire behind the stake boat. You just got to keep the ball in the middle of that, and then once the umpire's launch is settled, you can steer off the umpire's launch because he's going to go down the middle of the river.
It's always a nice theory.
Well, or do you want to sit right in the middle of the river to put the maximum pressure on your opponent? Or would it be best to
I suppose there is some of that tactics, but you're not going to, in a single, it's not like you're creating a huge amount of wash, a huge amount of disturbance. I think, in the bigger boats, some of the coxes maybe try and get away with a little bit of that, but I don't remember. In a single, I think you just really want to stay safe. You're more in your own head, you're more thinking about what you have to do each stroke and making sure that every time you're warned, it's a little bit. You don't want to get warned and get distracted. So the Canadian sculler, from Victoria City, Andrea Prosk, established an early lead. She was ahead by the end of the island. Looking very confident in this race. I mean, this is a semi-final. The Nottingham sculler will have been through several rounds, but still, so pulled out to a significant advantage.
Well, as this race looks a little bit set, it's probably a good opportunity for me, Alison, to...
Thank you very much.
Pop away and let Tom come back.
Okay, so we're looking at first semi-final of the senior single sculls for the Bernard Churcher Trophy.
So this is Victoria City on the Berkshire Station and Nottingham on the Buck Station. I have to say, I watched this Canadian sculler race her race yesterday, and she looked very impressive, imperious, in fact. I'd probably go so far to say. And you can see that
she's
playing
been
out
dominant
on the course.
here. Yeah, she's now just dropped her rating. So she was up there. She did a very impressive start, raced out her start, raced probably to about the 500-600 metres, and now has dropped her rating down to about 26 to conserve herself. They'll have had to have a few rounds, And a single, this is tough. Feels like a slightly longer race. Takes a bit longer. You just need to kind of now be really thinking, conserving your energies.
And I suppose, Alison, it's an abstract theory of mine, but if you've come all the way from Canada to row at Henley Women's Regatta, you've got to have something about you, really, haven't you? You've got to be fairly good.
Yeah, well, I think that one's, we would probably, I think that the Canadian sculler's got that one back up on the start of the second semi-final of the senior single sculls for the Bernard Churcher Trophy, between, on the left-hand side, Maulsey Boat Club, and on the right-hand side on the Buckinghamshire Station, Tideway Scullers.
Yeah, just leaving the start, it looked like scullers. The slight advantage there over on the Buck Station, but not by much. I think both scullers, it's crucial that you get a nice clean start, because I've seen one too many scullers topple in at the top of Temple Island, which is never a pleasant way to end your Henley experience. But it does look like the Tideway Scullers athlete
absolutely
got the more lively start, certainly.
She certainly, I mean, that's so she's just slightly overrating. She's about 38 there still, to sort of 36, 30, about 37. The Maulsey Sculler, very distinctive kit, the bands of the Tideway Sculler Club and the red and yellow blades there. she's really, I might say, giving it some stick there.
Yeah, hammering it.
You know, it's a wonderful feeling in a single to be able to. I remember in a single, the first point, you know, you get in a boat. I learned in an 8, nice big stable, and then you get in a single the first time, and it feels so twitchy and so unstable, and you worry about. And the first time that you're able to do this, that you're able to just get in and power, like it's like you can sprint. It's like, I also think it's like sprinting on a tightrope. You know, that tightrope, you get so confident that it makes no difference. And she's been able to do that coming off the start. This is Katie Wilkinson-Feller from Tideway Scullers. She's got herself out to a 2-length lead. Still pushing it away.
Yeah, impressive stuff from her. And I think what's important to note at this stage is this race is by no means decided. Obviously, we've done around 400 metres of the course, and you can see from the drone shots, it's about 3/4 of a length. And I think in a small boat, anything under 2 lengths is still relatively close. You know, the tables can turn in an instant in the smaller boats, and it looks like the Molesey Sculler is, you know, rediscovering her form and perhaps and she actually looks, as I see the two crews come down the course, she looks like the crew with the momentum at the moment, the athlete with more momentum in her boat, and certainly sculling a little better at this stage. Maybe these scullers, the Tideway Scullers athlete burned a little bit too much fuel in the early stages.
Yeah, it's always interesting when you've got a sculler who's just slightly underrating, and you just wait and see whether she was just biding her time, and it does seem to be. So they still didn't. The Tideway Sculler athlete didn't manage to get to the clear water, and now each stroke, a Molesey Sculler. So a Molesey Sculler pulling back now to within a canvas, and that's quite tough. That's quite tough now on Katie Wilkinson-Feller of Tideway Scullers. She went out there. You know, maybe it's interesting because they will have raced. I don't have the information on their form this season, but what happens in the single is they will have raced each other, and they will kind of know a little bit about each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
And very often, you know, one kind of goes, right, well, I've just got to go out there, and she's kind of done everything she could in that first stage, but it's not been enough to break the tie. And now Rebecca Girling of Molesey, looking very long, very calm.
Well, as they come past the enclosures, I think we're in for a real race here as they come down. I mean, the Tideway Scullers athlete is holding off the attentions of the Molesey crew at the moment, but I think we're in for a fantastic finish. And I think
half a length as we come past the commentary position.
It's going to be a fantastic race as it goes down the course. It is still half a length. I think the Molesey Sculler just needs to watch her steering a little bit, veering away towards the booms. Just a bit too much for comfort.
So now it's the Molesey Sculler who's slightly higher rating. So she was just been underrating the whole time, but she has managed to save herself a bit more in reserve. She's at 33. And it doesn't look like 33. This is the kind of the mark of a really good sculler. When it looks less, it looks more composed.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, it's to get out here and it's quite something in a single, you know, to get yourself up and all the distractions and row down this course head to head.
It's the ultimate discipline, isn't it, single sculling? As Sir Steve Redgrave, patron of our regatta, did once say, it is gladiatorial in its nature.
So well, it was everything really to play for still in that race. It'd be really interesting to go onto the website and look at that result, see who makes it through to the final. But now up into the now we're on to some junior races. Yeah.
Race 326, the first semi-final of the Junior Single Sculls. Reading Rowing Club on the Berkshire station and Agecroft Lee on the Buckinghamshire station. So a bit of a match-up here. I have to say I haven't got a lot of form, considering I think of myself as a bit of a junior rowing expert.
Yeah, I was relying on you, Tom.
Well, I know the Reading Rowing Club sculler is a GB star athlete, so she'll have plenty of form and plenty of knowledge of how to race, events like this. Agecroft sculler actually took me by surprise yesterday. She had an excellent couple of races and really sort of sent out a message to her fellow competitors. But it'll be interesting to see as they come down past these shadows of the beautiful Temple Island. I think as they move down the course, staying their lines beautifully, it must be said, which is no mean feat on the Henley Women's Regatta course. As they come out past those red buoys and enter into that tunnel of booms, it is not easy to stay on your station, but both crews disciplined and rigorous in what they're doing. But I think it might be the Agecroft sculler in that distinctive red kit with the slight advantage in the early stages.
great to see that they've got, a good junior program as well as a good women's program. I remember when I was first learning to row at Liverpool University, Agecroft was kind of our big rivals, but at that point, they had maybe one good men's 8, and then the women's program really came up, and they've got a lot of very good women's boats here this year, and also, as many clubs have, they've really invested in their junior program and got some good junior scullers and rowers here as well. But it is the Reading sculler.
Yeah, just about a length, isn't it, as they scull past Temple Meadows. That's a stunning shot, isn't it, that drone footage? It really does provide a whole new dynamic to both our commentary and actually your viewing experience at home. And if you are joining us here at the Henley Women's Regatta, we're here on the Sunday for a full programme of racing ahead. And we're watching the first semi-final of the junior single sculls. So these are the best under-18 athletes in the country. And we've got Reading Rowing Club on the Berkshire station, Agecroft on the Buckinghamshire station. And Alison, I can just see you clicking that rate watch frequently. What's going on the course?
So it's just interesting to see, because it gives you a bit of an indication about what might happen further down the course. So the Reading sculler has dropped her, she's now at about 29.30 compared to the Agecroft sculler, who's a bit higher, 31.32. So, but in a single, in a junior single, 29.30 in this stage of the race, I'd still say she's racing. She's not feeling like she's comfortable yet.
Oh, absolutely. Whenever I used to scull in the single, anything above 28 was considered smashing it for the finish.
And they've done, these in the junior single, they've already been through a number of rounds.
Yeah, heavily oversubscribed, as all the junior events are across the board. We've got such a fantastic junior system here in the UK with the National Schools Regatta and the Schools Head already having taken place earlier in the year. So this is the pinnacle for some of these girls here, racing on the Henley course in front of the adoring crowd here down by the enclosures. But Alison, it does look like the Reading Rowing Club sculler Stevens has opened up a bit of a lead here.
And she's sculling very well. I mean, you get something from the drone shots, but you don't get that. This is what you're always looking for. You're looking for here when she puts her blades in and when she pushes her legs down. So here you can see the blades go in and then the legs push. Blades go in, then the legs push. And there's a kind of patience, which is a maturity really, which I didn't get for a very, very long time in a single. I mean, I hadn't even started rowing. I didn't get the chance to start sculling or rowing until way after these girls did. We're now back up on the start for the second semi-final of the junior single sculls between...
Yeah, race 327. It's Putney High, Emma Andrews on the Berkshire station, and Winnipeg Rowing Club, so another of our Canadian friends. Goes by the name of Gray on the Buckinghamshire station. So this should be an interesting race. I know Emma quite well. She was a bronze medalist at the National Schools Regatta in the Championship Girls single scull, so plenty of form in her boat. But at the moment, she's being ousted by the sculler from Canada.
Well, again, as you said earlier, you're going to come over from Canada. You're probably going to think you've got something about you. It's interesting. Often they come a little bit early and do some domestic regattas. There's not much in it, is there?
No,
I mean, this is what's so good about the drone shots. I mean, rowing always has that difficulty of of it being for a spectator sport, because it is so difficult from the side. You can see a lot about the technique, but it's very difficult to work out the relative positions. But here from the drone, now you can clearly see that the Canadian sculler from Winnipeg Rowing Club has about half a length advantage.
Yeah, I know Emma's race plan quite well, and generally speaking, she was down at this stage yesterday. But
Should you be revealing it before the final?
Maybe not. But I know her race style. Perhaps that's the better
okay.
way of
That's
saying
it. Well, you don't
race profile, and
she's got to race a final. Well, maybe she's got to go race a final yet. Hopefully,
she has a strong second half. So
yes.
I'm confident for her coming down the course. But looking at that, I think she's got the Canadian sculler's got the more agricultural of the two styles. Certainly more power going down in the water. But it'd be interesting to see as they come down past the enclosures exactly how they are matching up and how much Emma's managed to ease into that deficit. The Canadian sculler.
I'd say so. Emma from Putney High, slightly shorter stroke and slightly higher rating, 32, 33 still. Winnipeg Rowing Club sculler, longer, a little bit lower.
I think she's holding on to that margin, isn't she? The sculler from Canada. If anything, she's lengthened out a little bit.
And it's always a bit dangerous when she's lengthening out each stroke and she's at a lower rate, because you do kind of think she's got a bit more. See her getting hold of the water there. She looks quite tight in her arms and shoulders. I mean, that's something you can see from here. Yeah, I would, she's really gripping. That's often something that is quite hard in a single if you've been rowing to really learn how to really loosen that. So, I mean, you said agricultural. It's maybe a little cruel in the style, but she's, when you've got the junior scullers, you just think of how far they've got to go as well. She's here and doing a fantastic race over this course. She's broken well